My name is Sandra Lauterbach. I am an artist living in Los Angeles, California. My medium of choice is textiles. My family was in the textile business for over 4 generations, starting in the Austrian-Hungarian Empire to Poland and finally to Los Angeles. This may partially explain why fabric is my medium of choice. Red jasmine is in the Silvermine Fiber 2020 exhibit. It is part of my freeform abstract series. I wanted to give you an idea of my work process. I start by choosing one piece of fabric and putting it up on my design wall. Then I search for a second piece that sparks a dialogue with my first choice. I look at them on the design wall to see if they communicate. Is there a dialogue between one piece and another? Is it a lively conversation or is it a dead conversation? And thus I keep adding and subtracting pieces until I end up with a final piece. Color, shape, pattern, print, and scale are all factors I consider. I view fabric and thread as my paint, and instead of brush strokes, I stitch. The energy in these pieces calls out for irregular freeform shapes. They do not want to be confined to a traditional rectangular size. I am incorporating fiberglass screening in some of my pieces, and I have also been experimenting with adding a 3D effect. The shadows when a piece is hung are intriguing. I view my work as a type of Rorschach test. People tell me what they see in a piece, and it varies from person to person. After I believe the piece is complete, the stitching begins. It is an important part of the creative process. Usually I stitch by machine, but sometimes I add hand stitching. The stitching helps to connect the forms and creates texture and marks on my canvas, similar to a painter using brush strokes to create marks in a painting. My work combines the traditional and historical technique of stitching with contemporary abstract art. I have also been working on pieces based upon my travels and my photographs. The Wailing Wall of Krakow was inspired by my visit to Krakow, Poland. It is over 8 feet wide. Both sides of my family lived in Krakow until World War II. When I visited it, I went to Remu Cemetery, an old Jewish cemetery destroyed by the Nazis. In the 1950s, it was restored. The tombstone fragments that were too small to be resurrected as gravestone were instead used to make a wall around the cemetery. I took photos of this wall made of tombstone fragments. I knew that I would make a piece based upon these photos. After I got home, I thought about this for a few months, and I decided to focus my piece on the stone wall. I combined different photos of different sections of the wall. Then I scanned family memorabilia, primarily from World War II, such as letters, passports, identity cards, and official documents. I overlaid these onto the wall using Photoshop, and when I had a finished product that I liked, I had the resulting composite printed on fabric. The printed fabric was layered with batting and a background fabric. I sewed the layers together in such a manner as to emphasize the three-dimensional aspect of the tombstones. I did hand stitching as a reminder that the survivors had to patch their lives together. Bringing the past with the future, I included color photos of our sons to express my hope for the future. The piece that looks like a steamer trunk is titled Under My Skin. It tells my family's story of fleeing terror, seeking refuge, and finding a new homeland. Unfortunately, it is still a relevant story today. You can tell the story by looking at the contents of this piece. Pictures of tickets, visas, passports, letters with war news, and medals. I used a similar technique to the one used in the Wailing Wall of Krakow. Here I put tapestry fabric around the edges to enforce the sense that this is a steamer trunk. I added locks that I antique, and I stitched it to emphasize the dimensions of this piece. I was thrilled to be asked to participate in an exhibit titled What is Important to Me. I chose history because, as George Santayana said, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Lost civilizations, rebellions, refugees, and fights for freedom from various centuries are depicted in this piece. From the Trojan horse to the stones of Masada to the Nuremberg trials and roundups of U.S. citizens of Japanese ancestry to the civil rights marches, we see the ongoing story of mankind. I used photos that I took in Morocco and Israel in this piece.